Hey guys, today we have Ritesh and he is having total 5.5 year of experience in Java, Spring Boot, microservices and other front-end technologies as well. So Ritesh, can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Hitesh Khanna. I'm working as a full stack developer in one of the big NSCs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Total, I have had experience of 5 years, 6 months, and during my tenure, I have developed a lot of features. Currently, I'm working on a CRM tool in which we maintain one entities that is being consumed by multiple end users, and we track this entity to log our revenues.
Okay, cool.
And mostly for this front end, we use Angular. For back end, we use Spring Boot and microservices.
Okay, okay. Since you are working on Angular and front end, Angular and back end both, right? Front end, back end both.
Yeah.
So you have used CORS, something like that, right?
Cross origin
Yes,
request
yes,
services.
yes. So what
Yeah,
does that
we
mean?
don't have used cores. We have
Mm.
used same origins basically. The
Okay,
thing was, cross will come when we have different ports. But
okay, okay.
currently we are using same ports, so we don't get
Mm-hmm.
the kind of this thing. And we are also using HTTP calls, so that
Okay.
surpasses HTTPS thing, of
Got
course.
it, got it. Ritesh, can you tell me the difference between hash map and concurrent hash map? And also tell me if two threads simultaneously call put on different keys, then what
Okay.
would happen in hash map as well as in concurrent hash map?
Sure. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, internally, bots both basically have the same fundamentals to insert the data and to get the data.
Mm-hmm.
In the point of differentiation, it's like a content is a thread safe, while your hash map is not thread safe. How it works internally basically depends on Java 8 and Java before Java 8. Before Java 8, it is like a blocking on your whole thread or whole
Mm-hmm.
table.
Mm-hmm.
That is your segment lock. That is there in your concurrent hash map. In hash map, so there is no point of thread safety. So I'll basically the points that I mentioned is for concurrent hash map only. So segment lock is there in before Java 8, but after Java 8,
Mm-hmm.
we do have your bucket level lock. It's basically we have two things. One is your compare and swap logic
Mm-hmm.
that will implement for your primitive data types or the kind of operation that you do in a CPU level. But if you have a longer computation that required a whole block to be executed, then we will have a synchronous method that internally basically defined by the JVM only, key which method need to be used based on the computations that you're providing. If it is a primitive one, so it will go with the CAS. If it is a functional one or any user-defined data DTO, so it will go with the second one that is the segment bucket lock. Now, when
Okay.
we do a insertion in a hash map or any content hash map, we
Mm-hmm.
do have your kind of modulo thing previously,
Mm-hmm.
but after Java, it got changed to the shift operators that also reduce your kind of processing speed. So by these features, we mostly get your result in the order of one time. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
we come to the two threads accessing the same uh, what different keys for the content hash map, we it has a different keys. So basically, it defines key if the hash is same or not. If it has a hash is same, definitely there will be a lock, and
Mm-hmm.
they will one key will allow to go inside the particular bucket. But if we have a different hash, then they both will have to be they have a different zones, so they will not contradict with each other. Along with that, it depends upon the if it is a put operation, yeah, definitely they will check for this thing. For get operation, they will not check for the logs until and unless the same node is getting referred, which is being updated by the put method. For
Mm-hmm.
hash map, I'm not aware whether it will be a conflict or not, because there is no table level log, so might be
Mm-hmm.
both will allow to read as well as to update. But we will not able to finalize, or we will not able to conclude key consistency will be there or not for data
Yeah.
in hash
Okay. So in hash map, basically concurrent puts can corrupt the internal array linked list structure, particularly
map.
during a resize, where two threads can create a circular reference in the bucket linked list and causing an
Okay.
infinite loop. Okay.
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 Yeah.
So, Ritesh, can you explain what will happen if you override equals method but not the hash code?
Okay. So basically, this both are used to insert any of entity into the bucket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First hash evaluates, then equal will go to that particular bucket and will do comparison with each of your nodes.
Okay.
Suppose you override equal method and don't override the hash method, so it will consider same hash as a different one, and it will
Mm-hmm.
do duplicate entry into the particular bucket. So we will get duplicate records inside the bucket
Mm-hmm.
or inside
Okay.
your hash map itself.
Got it. Got it. Hey guys, I want to share something important with you. Actually, Ritesh prepared from our interview preparation kit and cracked multiple interviews. We have also referred him to the multiple companies. So, guys, let me tell you this interview preparation kit has four main parts. First is complete interview preparation material. It is a step-by-step material made by me, expert and MNC's interviewers. 99% of the questions asked in interviews are covered in it. Second is two real enterprise client projects. Code and video recorded sessions are there, and you can add this in your resume. Third is lifetime chat support. Here you can ask your doubts anytime. Okay. Fourth is referral support. Here we help you to get referred to the top MNCs. So guys, basically this material is organized as per your experience level and covers Java, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data JPA, microservices, Kafka, Maven, Git coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. You can buy just the complete interview preparation material or the full kit with project supports and referrals. I have added the links in the description below. So now moving to our interview. And guys, before moving to our interview, since Ritesh is here, we can ask for feedback. So Ritesh, can you please share your feedback?
Yeah. So basically, this module helped me a lot in my interviews. Most of the questions that I've asked in the interview was inside in your booklet only. So
Mm-hmm.
it will help you whenever you're preparing for the interview. You should buy this thing and you should go through the questions. Mostly you will encounter the same question in the real interview, and you can also go with the mock interviews. It
Okay,
will give
okay.
you real time scenarios.
Yep. Thank you, Ritesh. Okay, so moving to our interview. Okay, so let's say two objects have the same hash code but equals return false. Is this valid? And what about the reverse?
If two objects are equal, it
Mm-hmm.
means the data present inside the object should be equal. If we are checking from a data point of view,
Mm-hmm.
and if data is equal, the hash should be equal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but if we are comparing the addresses, like we are using double equal signs,
Mm-hmm.
might be their address is equal, but their data should not be equal. In that case, their hash can be different. It defines
Okay.
basically. Yeah,
Okay, so is it a valid situation? Hash code is same but equals return false
yeah,
means
it is valid one.
it is valuable. And what
Yeah,
about reverse if hash code are not same but equals returns true?
it should not be same because eventually, whenever you are saying object is equal, the data comparison should be equal. The key should be equal.
Mhm. So this violates the
That
contract, right? Reverse
this
valid.
follows the contract. Yeah,
Mhm. Okay. What is the worst case time complexity in hash map if all keys have the same hash code?
it will be order of login. It depends upon the and
Mm-hmm.
what you can say clarification factor. If it is a
Mm-hmm.
tree, it is a order of login. If it is a linked
Mm-hmm.
list, means your threshold is very high, then it
Mm-hmm.
is a order of
Okay,
with
okay.
linked list.
Actually, yep, it depends on the Java's version. Basically, before Java
Yeah,
8, it is
linked
ON.
list is
It
there.
was ON, and now it is O login.
Avian trees, black, red, black. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay. Ritesh, have you used comparable and comparator in your project? If yes, then tell me when would you use each?
Yeah, we sure. So basically, I have used mostly of a comparator in your streams, but yeah, comparable we used to use previously. It is a class level comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling, I have mostly used comparator. Comparator
Mm-hmm.
is it's like you should provide the two different objects in which you want to do a comparison, and you will get a
Mm-hmm.
appropriate results. For
Mm-hmm.
comparable, it is a class level implementation. So one class will implement that comparable, and it need to override its method compare that will take one reference of other same class. Then eventually in the return statement, you will compare both the
Mm-hmm.
statement based on the requirement and you will return the result. So basically in this, we will get three results, minus one, zero, one. Minus one and zero is always skipped. It will not do
Mm-hmm.
any kind of operations for swapping. Only for plus one or greater than one value, it will do a swap. So
Mm-hmm.
if you do a minus b, so it will not do any kind of swaps. But if you do b minus a, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
a minus b is a positive one, so it is a greater one, then it will do a swap. So it
Got it.
defines.
Got it. If
And
you're
for comparator, same
Mhm.
goes. It's like you will use function interface like a thing. You provide both the parameters and you can return the expression by which you will evaluate the comparison.
Okay, got it. Uh, if you if your comparator returns zero for two equal objects, are they removed from a tree set?
Mm. Tree set.
Tree set uses
Okay.
comparator, right?
Tree set is basically tree set is a one that is for distinct. So we might not get duplicates in tree set.
Okay. Yeah,
Sure.
yes. Tree set uses the comparator to determine equality. Okay.
Yeah.
If comparator dot compare returns 0, it means uh these are equals, right?
What are equal?
So tree
We
set
should
treats
not add
them
it.
as a duplicate and will not add the second element.
Got it. Yeah. Got it.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so Ritesh, let's say a shared counter is being incremented by 10 threads. Okay. So there is some inconsistency in my data. Someone suggested me few things. Now I'm using volatile keyword. So still the data is giving wrong results. So what could be the issue
Okay.
from my end?
Volatile should not give you the wrong data, but it's like ki volt is the visibility thing. It's not enforce you ki data will get tried it inside a deep
Mm-hmm.
memory or like this. It
Mm-hmm.
has two things. It has a read and it has a write. So
Okay.
what it will do while you're reading a volatile keyword, it will enforce other threads to write the
Mm-hmm.
same data inside the main memory. But eventually there might be the case ki thread itself has some intermediate operations that is
Mm-hmm.
there in your there have a local memory that is
Mm-hmm.
your kind of counter is there. I guess registers are there in thread each thread that holds the particular context of an data
Mm-hmm.
on expression. Might be they have not evaluated the whole context, but due to the volatile, they have to write this thing in a main memory, and then volatile will read the data and give to the CPU for the further processing or for projection in the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So might be data was written in between by this, and once the thread completed, it overwrite the data again in the main memory. The volatile had read the data that is incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the case. So for this, you can go with the either the synchronization block with the volatile keyword.
Mm-hmm.
So thread might be wait for the computation to done, then write the data to the main memory. In this, your performance will degrade it.
Mm-hmm.
Or second thing was you can go with your kind of atomic datas. Atomics
Okay.
mostly are the ones that will do computation at the CPU level. It will not get stored inside the that I told you key intermediate operations will be there in the thread registers. That case
Mm-hmm.
will not come in the atomic. They will either give you the proper result or it will give the begin result.
Correct. You said correct, like volatile guarantees visibility. All threads sees the latest value from the main memory, but it does not guarantee
Yeah,
atomicity from for compound operations. Correct.
yeah.
Okay. Have you used atomic integer
I mostly we have used synchronization. Atomic we have not used
synchronization?
because but yeah, I know they have provided some operations like for atomic we can use dot get operations to get the integer value. But we have not used
Synchronize.
that.
I mean, is this synchronization flexible?
Uh, it is
Can
not,
we
previously we
reduce
don't
the
have any.
lock? I mean, in between
Yeah,
the blocks, or can we do some flexible
synchronization.
operations?
Yeah. So basically, synchronization was flexible till we don't get the retent lock system or the
Mm-hmm.
kind of other locks that we got. It's like we can put the synchronization at the code level,
Mm-hmm.
but locking and unlocking will be done internally by the JVM.
Okay.
But with the help of a new locking system, we can use try locking, in which we
Mm-hmm.
will check whether we can do a try lock or not using your retent lock. And we also have other locks as well. In this,
Mm-hmm.
we will try the lock first. If it is not what you can say. If it is not being locked, we will try the lock. If it is locked, we will do other operation. If it is not what you can say important, we can do it later on by another task or async operation. We can put it and we can come again and we can schedule it again.
Got
By
it.
this, we can use this thing
Okay.
and unlock it finally.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Ritesh, let's say you have a deadlock in production, right?
Yeah.
Now, can you tell me how would you detect and resolve it without restarting the JVM?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Retent logs are there in the productions. Not sure the tool name from by which we can track the
Okay.
logs. But yeah, there
So
is
did
one
you face
thing
this
in
situation in your career, like deadlock in your production code, something
no, we
like
have
that?
not faced.
Not face.
We have not faced. We are
Maybe.
basically clearing the resource basically whenever we are consuming
Hmm.
everything.
Yeah. So there is something J stack.
Yeah,
We
I
have.
know. This is JStack, JFR, this VM. I know.
Mm-hmm.
This thing was coming to the picture whenever your heap memory got full or out of memory issues there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you will get a heap file from no, JStack will give you the thread occupation in which you will have a thread name, thread
Okay.
lock, and on which is pending for which of the lock or resources for which
Mm-hmm.
is pending. That will give you a structure from CMDs.
Correct,
But
correct.
one more thing is there, that is JFR or JFlight, I guess. That gives you
Mm-hmm.
more insights on this.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
This
yep,
kind
yep.
of things I'm aware of, but I've not used this.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
Because in this we have to log into a system and we need to check from the command line to get these details.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I think the main important one is JStack. We have to run JStack to get a thread dump. JStack will
Yeah.
explicitly label deadlock threads and show which lock each thread holds and is waiting for. And then we could use JCMD also. Then MBs there, much stuff as well. Okay. Okay. So, Ritesh, tell me, how would you design a code pattern that prevents deadlock when acquiring two locks?
Mm, code pattern.
Code pattern.
Uh,
Just tell me the algorithm. How would you?
okay. So basically, uh, this kind of things I have not done yet. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
this we can make a combination of a log system only.
Yes, yes.
This logs I have
Reentrant
told
log.
you. By this, yeah, we can use this. We can create an object of log. We can
Mm-hmm.
have a critical section in which we will put a log first, log
Mm-hmm.
dot log, and do the context section
Mm-hmm.
execution. Once it is done, in finally or after the context section, we can say log dot unlock. So it will
Mm-hmm.
release that log. Or we can go with the synchronization, but synchronization is a little overhead for major of the task.
Correct. Okay, so Ritesh, in your current project, have you improved your code base, your feature, your logic with respect to the multi-threading? I mean, have you utilized multi-threading
Yeah,
concept to improve anything in your code base?
yeah, we do have a multi-threading in our code base. It's like we are allowing to do a particular task with thread one and a particular task with thread two that are
Mm.
independent of each other and don't have any dependency with each other. So we have implemented that thing.
Okay, okay. Okay, so as we know, we cannot apply multi-threading everywhere. If one task is dependent on another, so first we have to complete that first task, then we have to run the another task, right? I just want to
Yeah.
know the use cases of multi-threading in real applications, and uh, also tell me where we should not use the multi-threading concept.
So basically, if synchronization is there in the picture,
Hmm.
so you will not create the different threads. You will
Okay,
allow
one
to put all
second,
them in a single
one
thread.
one
But
second.
suppose,
1 second. Let's say you are working on an e-commerce application. Just tell me with respect to the e-commerce
yeah.
application.
So, okay. E-commerce में we should have a we will have a your order ID or payment ID. This kind of services are there, but they are separate entities. They are not functional dependent to each other. But if we are saying we are creating one of your APIs or a particular API, that will have a what you can say correlation between them while we are executing. But somehow in your case, if you're asking they are independent, might be we are calling a DB that will duplicate our code that we will insert it into the order ID. So
Mm-hmm.
for this kind of cases, and if you're creating two threads, we can use your join. So what it will
Mm-hmm.
do, it will put a hold on T1, wait for T to complete, and then it will execute. But mostly in our cases, we don't prefer this kind of things. We will try to put in a async code. So T will get completed, user will get a confirmation key your code is being executed, and asynchronously in backend, it will execute the DB insertion that we want to add the duplicate code.
Mm.
We don't want to hamper the user experience from each point
Correct,
of view.
correct. Okay, so Ritesh, can you please explain how optional is mean to be used and how it is commonly misused nowadays?
So basically, optional is like it is basically used to handle your null point exception cases.
Mm-hmm.
We have your cases like empty optional, off nullable.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly off will be used when your short key null will not get coming to the picture whenever you
Mm-hmm.
call executing functionality or any kind of operation you're executing inside the optional.
Mm-hmm.
Then comes the nullable off nullable, in which
Mm-hmm.
it is might be the case you will get a null point exception on null
Mm-hmm.
values that you need to handle. And for empty one, there will be no expression. It's like you're getting a dummy object of optional.
Okay.
Now the case we mostly mishappening of this usage of this optional is like you're using off, in which
Mm-hmm.
it is expected you will get a null thing. That to avoid this kind of things, better to always use your off nullable. And yeah,
Optional dot
if you are
get
using, yes,
without is
optional dot
present.
get, yes, yes. So
Okay.
optional dot get we can also use if we are using your if present like things, this kind
Mm-hmm.
of things, or intermediate operations we are using. The better to check is present first, then we'll ask for the dot get operations.
Okay. What's the difference between or else and or else get?
Or else or all else get. I'm not sure about this.
Okay. Or else always evaluates its arguments even if the optional is present or not. Okay.
Okay.
Whereas or else get is lazy. The supplier is only called if the optional is empty. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So do you know about the peak operation of stream?
Peak is
Stream,
I am not sure.
stream dot
It is
peak.
basically to get not sure. Not sure.
Yeah, yeah. It is basically intended for debugging. It applies a consumer to each elements as it passes through
Okay.
the pipeline without affecting the elements. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Ritesh, have you used parallel stream anywhere for just performance?
No, no, we have used mostly for your sequential streams only. But I
Sequential.
know how parallel stream work. In this, basically, forking and joining is there.
Mm-hmm.
That is used. Forking is used to divide the task, and that
Mm-hmm.
task will go to the multiple cores, and
Mm-hmm.
each core will do the processing. So in this way, you will reduce the you will improve the performance, and you will reduce the
Mm-hmm.
output time.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Um, Moving ahead. So, can you tell me the use case if you know, like where we should use the sequential stream and where we should use the parallel stream, right?
Okay, so basically, sequential stream provide you for kind of thread safety that is not
Mm-hmm.
in your parallel streams.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do a heavy computations and you
Mm-hmm.
want the end results, you don't want the
Mm-hmm.
intermediate results to be shown, or we want don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be stored somewhere, you
Mm-hmm.
can use parallel streams. That eventually will give you the end result very fast. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thread safety is not there in your parallel streams. So you will,
Mm-hmm.
if your multi-thread environment or concurrency is there, you might get incorrect data and inconsistency is there. But in
Mm-hmm.
case of stream data, you will always get the same result, and you can also use it for data processing in intermediate states like your filter mapping, as well as your reduce
Mm-hmm.
function to reduce the input with things that is coming into picture. You can also use your collectors. Nowadays a lot of collectors is
Mm-hmm.
there that helps you to get the groups that we manually create previously with the help of your streams
Mm-hmm.
or if else conditions to put the details. Now we only used to use the collectors, and we eventually get the same results.
Got it. Okay, so can you please explain how Spring transactional annotation works and what are the common scenarios where it doesn't work?
Okay, so transaction annotation generally uses your AOP things,
Mm-hmm.
expected basically, in which a proxy class is created around your transaction,
Mm-hmm.
in which we need to execute a transaction. So what proxy class will do, whenever the function got triggered, proxy class will load the transaction manager.
Mm-hmm.
Transaction manager will do all kind of transaction like your begin,
Mm-hmm.
committing, and intermediate operation they will do. So proxy class will load that class, and it will trigger the function, may call the function, and it will do begin execution and commit. Somehow,
Mm-hmm.
if any issue comes in during the execution of transaction, it will roll back. The
Mm-hmm.
rollback mostly happen for unchecked exceptions, but suppose you want to do the rollback for your checked exception,
Mm-hmm.
you can mention in the top of the function with the help of rollback and the exception name class for which you want the rollback. By this, mostly you will get a uh, rollback handling is done. But now the
Mm-hmm.
case you're using an internal function inside a transaction that is in same class. So
Mm-hmm.
proxy class will not able to recognize it, as proxy class will happen this operator. Now whenever they are going to reference this, their same class is coming to the picture, so they will not
Mm-hmm.
able to reevaluate whether the function is of same method or different method. So
Mm-hmm.
they will bypass, and the transaction if got failed inside the method, it will not get rolled back. It will
Mm-hmm.
consider as normal. It is a normal execution. It will consider. So in
Got
that
it.
case, you should refer the different bean.
Mm.
So different reference will come into the picture. The transaction will then again one more transaction measure around that functions. So
Okay.
propagation will come into the picture whenever you're doing this kind of things. We
Mm-hmm.
mostly use propagation news every time. So
Mm-hmm.
we will get different transaction for different entities. There is no correlation between them
Okay. Got it.
required.
Let's say a transactional method catches an exception internally and doesn't rethrow. So what would happen?
So basically, a commit will happen eventually
Mm-hmm.
because rollback never happen. Exception. So for transaction and proxy, there is no abnormalities happen inside the function. So it will
Mm-hmm.
consider a normal execution. It will commit the transaction, and you will not be able to trigger it anyway.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
And also basically transaction commits normally. Spring transactions mechanism only triggers rollback if an exception propagates out of the proxy method, right?
Yeah.
If the
Yes.
method catches all exceptions and returns normally, Spring sees no
Mhm.
exceptions and commits, right?
Yeah.
Okay, moving ahead. Can you tell me, let's say you inject a prototype scoped bean into a singleton scoped bean.
Yeah.
So why it will behave like a singleton?
So, Singleton, as I know only, is Singleton mostly create a single instance during the life cycle of our
Mm-hmm.
application. So, whenever you create any prototype object will give you the object whenever any new data comes into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
If same data is there, mostly it will go with the old scope, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this I'm not aware of.
Yeah, actually,
Uh,
singleton beans are created once and cached. When Spring creates a singleton, injects a prototype dependency, it basically
yeah.
injects one instance at creation time and never revisits it. The singleton
Okay.
holds a reference to that one prototype instance forever and effectively making it a singleton. Yep. So, Ritesh, can you tell me the difference between component, service, repository annotation, and can we use repository annotation on service files and service annotation on repository files?
So basically, all these are your stereotypes only. That is a part of the Spring framework.
Mm-hmm.
Internally, all will have your configuration, component annotation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, component annotation inside present them. That will help to create their bean. So service and repository have your addition features.
Mm-hmm.
Like for repository, it will give you a granular kind of exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
You mostly get an exception that is not readable. So it will convert that exception to your data access exceptions or your SQL exceptions. So
Okay.
with the help of the repository, you will able to use that. And for service, it is a kind of custom exceptions or user-defined exceptions that is
Mm-hmm.
expected from this. If you interchange this thing, then it will not able to give you general informations. Whenever they going to cast this exception to data accesses,
Mm-hmm.
it will not able to identify key which kind, and it will give you the trace of your error exception that is not
Mm-hmm.
readable by us.
Got it. Okay, so let's say in a microservice architecture, service A calls service B and service B is slow. After 60 seconds, service A times out. So how would you fix this design?
We can put your we can basically add your fault tolerance. Fault tolerance
Mm-hmm.
can be achieved with the help of your return mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
What we will do, we can have your programmatical approach in which we will mention an API, and
Mm-hmm.
we will have a catch block. In catch
Mm-hmm.
block, we will have a counter,
Mm-hmm.
and for first counter, we will put a thread on sleep for 1 second. Then we will try the call the same function. If that counter got incremented, instead of
Mm-hmm.
putting for 1 second, we will put for the 2 second. But this eventually will give you a bad experience to users. So we will only retry for 2 times. If it does not work at that time, we will put a circuit breaker logic on counter three. We will call a function that is a
Mm-hmm.
circuit breaker. That function will have your fallback method. So
Mm-hmm.
what it will do, after for it will execute a fallback in which we will mention the kind of exception that we need to show the
Mm-hmm.
users that service is down. At the same time, we will isolate that service from the network, and after certain time that what you can say service will get added again to the system in a half open stage in which we will put some allow some APIs to trigger hit that API. And if success rate is 100%, we will put that into the open state, then in which we will allow them to call the sliding window, the 10 APIs per second, or the how much you are defining your properties. And still, if the success rate is not 100% in your half open, we keep them as a open state. So we will
Mm-hmm.
also isolate and will inform to the operation teams and will trigger the appropriate actions that need to be performed by the application teams.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Moving ahead, what's the difference between timeout, retry, and circuit breaker?
So basically, timeout is a thing you need to execute a task like
Mm-hmm.
your mm, future tasks are there. You are given some task to a thread and you want to get a result from a
Mm-hmm.
thread. So you put some timeout that for that time you are allowed to execute task. If you are exceeding that time, you will throw
Mm-hmm.
an exception, return
Okay.
exception, timeout exception is there. But for retry mechanism, it is like you are retrying.
Mm-hmm.
You're calling and retrying a task after certain time. Depends upon the logic that you have written for the retry. While your circuit breaker is a one that is your blockhead, bucklehead
Mm-hmm.
system is there, in which we mostly isolate the inconvenient or non-functional component out of the functional one. So
Mm-hmm.
functional one will not get impacted due to this non-function.
Okay, got it. So, Ritesh, can you tell me how can we utilize Saga pattern in order to maintain data consistency across two microservices?
So basically, Saga pattern will have your orchestra that will call the APIs.
Mm-hmm.
So firstly, it will execute the service that you have provided. It will call the first service, do the all transaction in that service, then return back either a success or failure. Failure will be like an exception that you will get.
Mm-hmm.
So it same way it will go with the service two, same way it will go with the service three. Somehow some exception happen at the service two level. Then
Mm-hmm.
exception will come into the picture. That exception will be catched by your Saga pattern or the main orchestra. Then
Mm-hmm.
it will compensate the request. We
Okay.
have a correlation ID that is being shared among these three services,
Mm-hmm.
and that co-ID is being used to update the data either with a active flag as your N, in which we will mark it as a non-active, or either you can delete the data with the help of that key. That key, mostly in our case, is an idempotent key.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know about outbox pattern?
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
So basically, this kind of issue we have also faced in our cases. It's like whenever you're having a communication between the services, some services take a lot of time to commit the data into transaction, and somehow another service who is waiting for the response of the service one will either get timeout exception or will not
Mm-hmm.
able to listen that response of the service 2. So in that case, service 2 has a data inside a DB, but service 1 is not aware of that. So what we have did is service 1 will update the data into DB, and
Mm-hmm.
that data will go to the Kafka for some kind of observation that you can use. You
Mm-hmm.
can relate to sync the data with your other DBs using Kafka.
Okay.
But somehow its issue is key. Kafka also sometimes not able to make a connection with your single DB. So we have
Mm-hmm.
one more DB that will have a duplicate data as of your primary DB. So
Mm-hmm.
somehow if Kafka not able to get data from your table one, it will retry that same thing with your table two, that is your outbox table.
Got it. Okay, so can you tell me what is n plus one problem in Spring Data JPA and how can we fix it?
So this mostly come in the picture when you have a parent-child relationship,
Mm-hmm.
one to many kind of things are there. Uh, this come into the picture when we do eager loading, in which parents have multiple childs.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be one to many or one to man to many is there. So first query will run to get the parent details like your one first one who has a childs.
Mm-hmm.
Then it will run n times to get n childs. For suppose we have n parents, so first
Mm-hmm.
output we will get n parents. Then after second time it will execute n times to get n children of each parent. That's how it is
Okay.
executing n plus one times. So to avoid this thing, we can either fetch the child with parent, that we can do with the help of your joining fetch, or we can also put the limiting thing. So we will instead of calling it n times, we will have a batch for
Mm-hmm.
children's, or either we can use your graph, entity graph, in which
Entity
we will
graph.
mention which entity is a children, and based on that reading, it will load the children at the time of parent only. This
Correct,
only
correct.
comes to the picture when eager is there. For lazy, we will not have an issue.
Hmm. We can use entity graph, join fetch, batch size.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Moving ahead, let's say you have a service that creates database connections, right? And new developers keep calling new connections directly. So how would you enforce a connection limit and centralize creation?
Centralized creation.
And I am more interested to know about the design patterns while answering this question. Design patterns from Java, like factory, builder, something like that.
Connection pools, so we are maintaining at your config level, but we basically using JDBC template to make a connection,
Mm-hmm.
and JDBC template itself has a connection pool. Your Hikari connection pool is there that do all kinds of connections
Mm-hmm.
for specific one to get a connection, and you want to be used by other classes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can you come again the question once? I'll
You have a service that creates database connections, right? And
okay.
new developers keep calling new connection directly, right? How do you enforce a connection limit and centralize creation?
We need to put a limit. We can use
Mm-hmm.
your rate limiting if it is a
Mm-hmm.
calling from your API point of view. We have multiple patterns in
Mm-hmm.
which we can use a token linking bucket. These kind of things are there, but we mostly have your resident 4J provide you an inbuilt one that is a bucket 4J.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally depend. That is internally uses your token bucket. So during a time slot, it have a three tokens. For suppose from 9 to 9:05, it have a token
Mm-hmm.
limit of three limits. Whenever an API came, it will give one token to each thread, and
Mm-hmm.
that thread use that token, and it will do the processing or get the connection and utilize that. Once the connection is done, they can release the token. But this is mostly ineffective if your peak time is there. So we always recommend to use your sliding window, in which during based on the previous output, it increase the bucket token bucket limit, but it has a over what you can say upper limit after which it cannot exceed. So this
Okay.
is mostly being used for your kind of
Mm-hmm.
things where the peak hours is defined.
Mm-hmm.
During this defined hours we will get a peak load.
Correct, correct. And also, let me tell you my approach. I would use a factory or builder to centralize creation.
Okay.
New connection is never called directly by clients now, right? And then I would
Okay.
use an object pool like a carry CP to cap the number of live connections and reuse them, right? And optionally, I could use a singleton to ensure only one pool instance exists, right? Something like that I could do. But your answer is also correct. Okay. Okay. So yes, Ritesh, it's done from my end, and yes, it was a very, very nice interview. You have answered
Yeah,
most
same
of the
here.
questions. Okay.
Same here. Yeah.
And yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yep.
your time.